In the last talk, we talked about how we can develop the assessment map, and then the purpose of today's discussion is to talk about specific quality standards that are related directly to the assessment and course objectives. So the first one that we put here is like standard 3, and that's about assessment and measurement. And what it says is that there should be kind of alignment between the assessment and the learning objective of competencies. So at a lower level, like it could be an overall look, like how you assess the course objective in overall, and then at a second level, it would be the modular. So for each module, for each topic that you define, how you would do that. The other information is about, or the other standard talks about the clear statement of your grading policy and a clear rubric or explanation or descriptive criteria for the evaluation of learners' work. And also, what should be the assessment activities that you use? They should be suitable. They should be there should be a variety of them, so you can keep engaging the students. And each one should have a specific target or a specific goal. And the other thing that we want to take care of is that we make sure we have a variety of the assessments, so we are sure that we can target each at some specific learning outcome or a combination of them. And then the other purpose is that we want to create the type of assessment that gives the students multiple opportunities, because the students have different learning styles. So by giving them, for example, a variety of type of quizzes or a variety of discussions, written assignments, online assignments. So by providing that variety, we are able that all our students, no matter what type of learning they have, they would have the opportunity to show that they have really learned the word. And then QM standards, like Quality Matter Standards 2, specifically looks at the learning objectives or competencies, like how they should be written, how they should be assessed. So, and what is the relationship between this learning objective and competencies in the course that we have. So, to put it in a nutshell, Standard 2 talks about how you design your learning objective, and Standard 3 talks about what are the specification of the assessment tools that we use and how you can align them with the course objective. So based on that, I'm gonna talk about probably 3-4 other slides to share some information, some specific information, and then I will show you how I applied them in an undergrad course, and then how the activity of today is also based on that. To talk about the assessment tools and activities, like how we align them together. So we all know the description, that when we talk about an activity, it is actually the purpose it serves is to reinforce the course content, and also provide some opportunity for our learners so they can further understand or further improve their knowledge of the course or achieve those objectives or competencies that we talk about. So what we want to always remember is that when you are planning your activities, when you are planning your assessment activities, we have a combination, right? So you always can think of 3 types. One is learner-instructor. So it means that the interaction that happens in this assessment tool, it is between you and directly with your learner. So that would be one type. The other type of assessment that we can use is learner to learner, and by that your role would be as a facilitator of a student's learning. In other words, you just monitor their learning, and then you facilitate when necessary, you intervene when necessary. And then we have learner content. By that we mean you want to engage the students in some kind of activities that gives them the ground for processing some information or concepts that you presented, for applying some knowledge or some techniques that you presented in your course, or discover something by themselves, right? So we want to make sure that when we are designing the different assignments, we focus on different parts, right? So, and have a good kind of balance between learner-instructor, learner-learner, and learner content. So we want to have a combination of all the 3. So what happens if why this is so important that we have this alignment, right? So what happens if there is not enough alignment or proper alignment between the learning activities of the course and the learning objectives that you have? So the problem is that if there is not enough aligned activities, then learners are not adequately prepared, right? They are not actually well prepared for answering the questions that you have them, and or for example completing the assessment activities that you give them. So that would be one problem. The other one is that if a big proportion of the assessment activities or tools that you use in the course, they are not aligned with the objective or competencies, then from learners' point of view, it seems like they are just doing some busy work, right? And they don't feel that learning happens. So again, I want to just bring everyone's attention to the main note that we discussed last week, that at the end of all these standards and tools and activities, we want to make sure that learning happens. So that is the ultimate goal. And therefore, this is very important to focus on this part. Now, there are several considerations that may help us to make sure that what we are designing here meets all those competencies or all those standards. The first one is that you as the instructor or as the facilitator of a student's learning should create some navigation for the course, right? So that the students are very familiar about what is going on. The first one is that you want to have some requirement for learners' interaction. So how do you expect them to interact with you? How often do you expect them to interact with you? So the question that you want to answer to make sure that information is provided is, will the learner taking your course know what is expected of them in terms of, for example, participation in the course overall? And by participation, we talk about, for example, the submitting of assignments, showing up in the class, attendance, and all those kind of expectations that you have. The other consideration should be about the etiquette or the online form of communication etiquette. So if you post some discussion board, what are the specific instruction that you expect them to follow? You have to include all of them to make sure that students are on the same page. What are the policies that you have in the course? So it is different from the university policies. So you as an instructor, do you accept late assignments? Do you have, for example, any group activities plan? And if yes, what are your policies for handling them? So all those information should be included. The other one is, what is your plan for interaction, right? And then this is what are the expectations that you have of how you want to interact with your students? For example, if you are going to change some topics, are you going to interact through the announcements? So you can always discuss them in that course navigation part. And the other thing that brings more weight to this is that, of course, we all are teaching probably in person now, but we also need to have some kind of social presence in the course. And that social presence, it means that you show your presence on Canvas. For example, if you post a discussion board as a kind of activity, then maybe you want to have the first post yourself. And then that encourages the students to reply to you probably sooner than the deadline, and then you create that kind of ongoing discussion. So having a plan for your interaction, it is encouraging for students, and also it shows the level of the social interaction that you as the instructor have in the course. The other one is, of course, about the tools that you want to use, right? So all these previous things is about different alignment assessment activities that we talk, but at the same time, we need different tools. So students should be definitely aware of what are the software, what are the type of tools or type of different resources that you want to use for them. And then again, your role as the instructor is to, based on the quality matter standards, is that all these tools that you choose, they are selected to facilitate the learning activities, right? To make them more engaging, to make them more relatable, and also for you to make sure that you receive the feedback or the outcome that you expect for the announcement. So again, different criteria is that these tools should be obtainable. For example, I always use this statistics software for some of my undergrad and grad classes. And then there used to be a university license for that, but this semester they changed that. So there is a specific way or a specific requirement that me as the instructor should follow with the IT, give them a student's email, and then they can register their students to use that specific software. So that is on me to make sure that this tool that I'm using for some of my case study assessments is actually obtainable for our students. The other one is accessibility. Most of the technologies now they have this accessibility statement. So if there is any information about that makes sense to have for your students, it should be also included in that as part of the alignment that we try to create. And then if there is any technical skills that your students need, it should be definitely mentioned. For example, if this is a like advanced level programming course that you have, and then you believe that students should have some preliminary experience in that, it should be stated directly, and the level of their skills or the level of expected skills that you have, it should be there. So that is another thing that we want to make sure it happens. And of course, the technical support. So at some point, if some of these tools, they may need some technical support, you want to share that with the students. So this is just like an overview of how we want to make sure that we have all these criteria for the assessment tool.